Hi, friends. Spring is supposed to be a season of renewal when things bloom again, when things begin to bloom again. But right now, things feel pretty heavy. And I know that I'm not the only one feeling that because we are one and we are never alone, despite what we may sometimes think. So I want to talk today about something that's been on my mind all week. There is a lot happening in the world. The collective energy feels chaotic. We just moved through a lunar eclipse and we're in Mercury retrograde, which for me is always a little extra spicy because Mercury happens to be my ruling planet. On top of all of that, in my own life, things have been feeling really heavy too. So I'm going to tell you a very personal story about something about me that I don't really talk about in public all that often. Maybe I'll get better at it as time goes on. But I am currently in the middle of a pretty intense lipedema flare. If you don't know, lipedema is a connective tissue disorder that I was diagnosed with about a year and a half ago. It affects mobility. It causes a lot of physical pain, and it's progressive. There's no cure. And I am currently on a journey toward surgery, which is not going to cure the disease, but it will be a reset for me. And lately I've been sitting with what that really means. A couple weeks ago, I traveled out of state for a surgical consultation that I had been waiting for over a year for. There are very few surgeons who perform this surgery, and it's not an easy surgery to perform, and it's not an easy surgery to recover from. It's a really big process. It's multiple surgeries that are going to have to happen, long recovery periods, and a lot of logistics. So I go to this consultation that I've been waiting for over a year, and that in itself is an emotional experience because it's kind of like, okay, I'm finally here. What I wasn't fully prepared for was how confronting the consultation itself would be. Part of the evaluation involved going through a list of all the ways this disease affects my life, all of the ways that it limits my mobility, decreases my quality of life, and interferes with basic daily activities. And I already knew my limitations were increasing. I have been feeling that for a while now. And in perimenopause, it's speeding up and progressing quickly because this disease is really affected by hormonal fluctuations, which is why women are the ones that have it. So pregnancy or puberty, pregnancy, perimenopause, and menopause are the times when you really find the blooms happening. So it's interesting I'm talking about blooms because that is what I want to talk about eventually. So basically, things are getting harder for me, things that shouldn't be hard at 47 years old. And when I was in this consultation, the nurse practitioner was going through a list of all of the ways that this disease affects me on a daily basis. And hearing them all listed out like that, like one after another, was incredibly confronting. And I tried to hold back tears in that appointment and I just couldn't. And she said this is usually about the time that people break down because it's a tough diagnosis. The conservative care and therapies will last for the rest of my life. It's something that will always need to be managed. And that is really hard to accept. So, when you're forced to sit down with all of your limitations at one time, it's really hard not to feel like those limitations are starting to define you. That's what I've come away from this is like your limitations begin to become your identity. And that's a really scary place to be. And so after this consultation, it's required that I get a physical evaluation before these surgeries also, because I need insurance to cover them. It's going to be very expensive and insurance doesn't want to cover stuff, as we all know. So I have to get this physical evaluation. And so I had that evaluation with my occupational therapist and another therapist that she brought in. And my OT is someone that I see every week for lymphatic drainage therapy. And so this physical evaluation was even more confronting. It's a bullshit exam to prove to the health insurance company that this disease makes my life harder and that I deserve to have the surgery. That's really annoying. Anyway, the two therapists, they were making me do all of these physical assessments, like measuring range of motion, and it was like simple movements and, things like how far can you bend your knee? Can you point your toe? Like, can you lift your leg up behind you? And if you are watching this and you're someone that has known me for a while, then you know that I used to be a dancer. I used to be able to fly. I used to be able to bend this way and that. I was so strong and I was in total control of my body. So to suddenly struggle with movements that once felt completely natural to my body and so easy, like no brainer, you don't even have to think about it, that hits on a really, really deep level. There's so much lipedema tissue affecting my mobility that even lifting my leg a few inches off the ground is difficult right now. And moments like this can make it feel like blooming is impossible. Like I'm buried under too much weight to ever push through the soil again, like I'm supposed to in spring. So it feels really heavy. And I think that a lot of people feel this way right now, not necessarily because of a physical illness like mine, but because of the heaviness of the world. Like when you feel like nothing you do is going to make an ounce of difference. We have war happening. There's political chaos. My inbox lately has been flooded with people sending me memes and videos attacking politicians or celebrating someone else's downfall. And I do get the dopamine hit. I get that. I understand why people engage with that stuff, because when you feel completely defeated, you feel like you need some kind of win, right? But keep this in mind that the world, we're all feeling heavy already. And so when you're spreading stuff like that, you're spreading more heavy energy. And that's not what we need right now. Being ugly toward each other, to other humans, some of them may not be human, but that's a whole nother topic. Maybe we'll talk about that one day. But being ugly to each other, it's not going to help anyone bloom. It's just more noise. It's more heaviness. It's more weight pressing down on the soil that we're trying to grow up out of. So yes, there is a lot that feels wrong in the world right now, on top of whatever personal heaviness you might be feeling, in your personal relationships, in your family, in your business or your professional life. There's a lot that feels wrong. There is. But spring is still coming. And spring reminds us that things don't bloom overnight. Before anything blooms, there's a period where the seeds are buried underground, in the darkness, gathering strength, preparing for the moment when they finally push toward the light. And I have been reminding myself all week that the work I'm doing right now, the insurance paperwork, the travel planning, the logistics of surgery, the recovery that's ahead, those are seeds. This surgery won't cure my disease, but it will create space. Space to reclaim movement, space to rebuild strength, space to move toward the life I still intend to live, because I am not going to let a chronic progressive disease define the rest of my story. There are still dreams I plan to live into. And so instead of letting the heaviness pull me down, I am choosing to focus on the small things that help me move forward, that help me grow up out of that heavy soil. Which brings me to something I want to try this week. I'm going to pull 7 cards from my Make Yourself a Priority card deck. Now, this is a deck that I actually gave to my mom as a gift. And she passed away last October. And I was going through some of her stuff and I found this box and it was still in the plastic wrapping. So she actually never got a chance to do this and to make herself a priority. So this has been something that I've been wanting to do for a couple months now. And so I think now is the time. My movement is limited right now. But you know, all of the growth that we need to have begins inside. It's not gonna happen from, you know, doom scrolling or pulling information in that's all around us. It's going to start in here. And so this is one way that I'm going to try to take some steps forward, even if they're just baby steps, because that's what I need right now as I continue through this heaviness and this flare. So I'm going to treat this like a small reset. And I want to invite you to do it. This is a 7-day invitation to gently coax yourself back toward the energy of spring if you're not feeling it right now. And this isn't to add to a to-do list or to give ourselves more things to do. It's really just meant to be small intentional steps each day that feel really fucking good. So yeah, I want to feel light. I want you to feel light. So if you are feeling heavy right now, I do invite you to join me on this. And you don't need to do the same card deck. If you want to still do the 7-day thing, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. Do things that feel good for you, like journal or move your body, dance in your living room, sing, reconnect with something that reminds you that growth is possible. Again, spring doesn't demand that we bloom overnight. It simply invites us to keep reaching for the light. And that can be as simple as choosing one small step today. So I haven't looked at these. I'm going to do this totally randomly, which is always fun for me because being in the finance world, working as a bookkeeper and a fractional CFO, I'm always on a schedule and everything's always planned out. And there are specific tasks that have to happen during specific weeks of the month. And so I'm not gonna, we're doing this totally spontaneous right now. And that feels really good. And it goes with my word of this year, which is play. I recently had a friend remind me that the whole reason I started this YouTube channel was not to get drowned in tasks and, you know, the tech that goes with it, but to show up with the energy of play, like I did like spontaneously on that very first video that I recorded. So each of these cards has something like an affirmation or something to do on the front. And then on the back, there's like a little blank space that says, I will take care of myself by, and then you write like how it made you feel. So you'll do one of these for the next 7 days. So with that, let's go ahead and pull the first card. Okay, you can pause this and write this down in your journal or take screenshots if you want. Okay, here's the first one. And you don't have to do these in order either, by the way, just pick whatever calls to you each day. Okay, so the first one says, take your time on a task or activity that you would normally rush. Okay, that's good. I rush through a lot of stuff. Okay, so in your journal, you can go ahead and decide what you're going to do if you want, or you can make it totally spontaneous and pick that the day of. I will take care of myself by boo, 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 boo. And then after you do that, you write, how did it make me feel? Take your time on a task or activity you would normally rush. So that's card 1. Okay, card 2. Watch a relaxing movie. Immerse yourself completely in the experience. So pick your movie, prepare yourself before the movie starts. You know, get comfortable, get your blanket, put your PJs on, whatever you need to do to like immerse yourself completely. And then once you've done that, write down how it made you feel. Okay, card 3. I almost dropped all of them. Let's see. Okay, here's card 3. Drink more water today. Okay, well, how did that make you feel? Once you do it, how does it make you feel to drink more water? Water's always good. Okay. Card number, what are we on? Number 4. Okay. Take 3 slow, deep breaths, in for 4, out for 6. I would say to do that a few times throughout the day and then record how it makes you feel. Okay. Card number 5. Take a walk in the park and embrace nature. I think I pulled this one a few weeks ago and I haven't done it yet. So guess who's going to be taking a walk in the park and embracing nature? I am. And then you are too. And after you do it, write down how it made you feel. Okay, card number 6. Observe your thoughts while playing soothing music. Done and done and done and done. Awesome. Yeah, observe your thoughts and then record how it made you feel. Okay, and are we on 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5, 6. Okay, number 7, last one. None of these are hard, right? Make yourself a priority. Okay, number 7, the final one. Write down 5 things that make you smile. Okay, so write those down. And then maybe write down why they make you smile. Okay, so those are our 7. In no particular order, I'll go through them one last time. And remember, you are going to do these actions, and then you're going to record how they made you feel. So write down 5 things that make you smile. Take a walk in the park and embrace nature. Observe your thoughts while playing soothing music. Watch a relaxing movie, immerse yourself completely in the experience. Take your time on a task or activity you would normally rush. Drink more water today. And take 3 slow, deep breaths, in for 4, out for 6. So for the next 7 days, I'm going to follow these prompts and see what shifts. This won't be overnight change, but and it'll be small ways that remind me that I'm still growing out of this heaviness and up toward the light. So if you decide to join me in this little 7-day experimental reset, I would genuinely love to hear about it. You can share what you're noticing, what feels different, or what's helping you bloom again, even just a little bit. And if you know someone who's been feeling buried under the heaviness of everything going on right now, then please feel free to share this video with them too, because sometimes the smallest reminders that we're not alone, that growth takes time, that renewal is still possible, can really make a big difference. And just remember that it all works out in the end. I'll see you in the next one.